You are watching the Always Go Big Interview Podcast. It's an interview with those who have big dreams. My name is Troy Ritchie, and I'm a future filmmaker with enormous aspirations. Join me in receiving inspiration from some of the most influential people with big dreams of their own. Learn how to overcome negative self-talk, remain focused, and accomplish everything you've ever dreamed possible by their example. If you ever wanted to be a part of someone before they broke big, now's your chance on the Always Go Big Interview Podcast.
Well, hello there. I'm just looking at the old branding going, what in the world? My name is Troy Ritchie, and I'm the host of the Always Go Big Interview Podcast, and we have a very special guest, Nick Ronan, the janitor. And I remember I was a guest on your podcast last week at this time.
You're
a guest on my podcast. So it's the home and away series, right? Where we just flip flop back and forth. And I asked you a question last week about what is the deal with Ronan. You told me before, I forgot. And I figured all of our guests would want to hear that. So let's get started with that first story. What is up? You said it wasn't about the movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a movie. Okay, so this whole thing stems from LinkedIn, right? And basically, I used the janitor thing a long time. So back in the day when we used to be able to do networking in person, right? We would I'd go places, and I'm in DC. So the first thing people would ask you is, what do you do, right? They're basically looking to see is, what can you do for me when they ask that question? And I would just always tell people that I'm a janitor. It's the first paying job I ever had that I ever did. I worked on a family farm before that, so I don't count that because, I was not paid for that. So that's where that goes. And that's where the janitor part came from. Because I did a post on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, when I go to different networking events, I always just tell people I'm a janitor when they ask me what I do. And then the Ronan part came from Nick Rayburn. He and I were talking about some people who had in their headlines that they were LinkedIn ninjas. And I was like, well, you can't have ninjas without having Ronans, right? So that's where the Ronan part came from. So long roundabout story. That's how it went around. Oh man, interesting background there.
Have you seen this movie?
Production on the fly. Yes, I have.
You have, yeah. It's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's got to be it's the kind of movie you watch when you're folding laundry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you fold your laundry, or is that someone else in the household that does that?
I put my laundry on the floor. That's what I do right now.
Oh, you one of those?
No. I do fold my laundry. Yeah.
You do? Okay. Yeah. I find it therapeutic. So football season, I actually fold the laundry come home from church, and it's 8 to 10 hours of football. It's a good thing I don't watch college football. I'd lose 2 days of the week, but I do the laundry. But it's one of those things. I can't just sit and watch a movie without doing something. Like, I have to do it. It has to be the best movie in the world for me to stop doing something and watch. Do you experience like multitasking? How do you go through stuff like that?
Yeah, I generally don't watch TV.
Yeah,
I just don't. I mean, my wife watches shows. I watch them because she watches them. But I generally don't watch a lot of TV or a lot of movies.
But when you're doing that, are you sitting down?
Most of the time,
no. Are you just doing that? Yeah. Like, you're doing something, right?
No. Yeah, no, I'm normally doing something. If I'm sitting down, I might be on my phone, but then I'm also doing something. Right. I might be watching somebody's live stream with the audio off and just reading captions.
Yes.
I'm just generally not a TV watching person. I have one TV in the house that has cable in it, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know why TV? I would want more than one TV. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in today's world, it's just live sports is about it for me. And everything else is just kind of like streaming, right? You just sit down and stream. But yeah, I'm with you. So you've shared the Ronan
Sultan,
story.
What's up, man? Good to see you in LinkedIn there. Sorry.
Oh no, you got LinkedIn open?
Yeah, I see his comment, but I don't see it in the StreamYard thing. But just want to acknowledge
that about LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch though. YouTube. I don't
Mary,
really have
thanks for hanging out. Oh, there. So Mary, maybe just LinkedIn just took a minute to catch up.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Mary. Yep.
Mary, thank you for being here. I'm going to copy Ronan and introduce and say hello to everyone. So tell us about like you went from zero to hero, man. Like you were kind of under the radar, and then we do the 90-day video challenge, and then you got kind of a following now, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did the 90-day video challenge, and so initially, back to my initial story, how I wound up on LinkedIn is I have a pretty serious podcast where I talk about leadership in the technology space. So I was on LinkedIn to basically promote that, and failing like everybody else when they're new on the platform, you see what people are doing, so you copy it, and find out that it actually doesn't work. It only works for the certain creator, like the Let's Grow and Connect post and all that stuff like that. And you and I connected because Peter Lynch, who was a guest on my podcast, I think commented on one of your things, and we connected from there. And then I saw your 90-day video challenge, and I was like, well, what better way to get used to doing something than just to force yourself to do it? So I'm like, fine, I'll do it. And that's where that all started, man.
But
and I got you to thank for that. So
yeah, and I'll take that. However, wherever I was, you just passed by, and I'm curious about that journey, right? Where it's like your first couple of videos, you admitted you felt nervous, and maybe imposter syndrome or something like that. We all experience that, and then it seemed like you got more and more comfortable. Now the serious podcast, that was on video, right?
It was on video, but the whole thing is it's different though, right? Because I do a podcast and I have a co-host, and you have somebody else to lean on, and then you generally have guests. So it's a bit different feeling, and you're interacting with somebody, as opposed to just putting a camera in your face and looking at a camera and trying to talk. That's always it just threw me off because I would, not that I was nervous, I just trip over my words, right? Like it's it's like one of those things, like I could talk to you forever. You and I could have that discourse back and forth forever. Yeah. But as soon as I put the camera in my face by myself, it's like, but I've since gotten over that, because I can do a whole live stream by myself and probably talk for hours, but yeah.
and does your wife give you feedback on thumbs up, thumbs down type deal, like my wife does?
Oh yeah, she'll tell me if something sucks. Yeah, so it's
and
it's good to have that honest feedback. So yeah,
do you post it anyway?
Yeah, when we were doing the 90-day thing, it was just about posting the video. That became the challenge, right? There were days that were horrible, where my content was horrible, and then there were days where I thought it was good and it did horrible. Yeah, and then there were days where I threw something together in 10 minutes and it just got traction randomly. So it was kind of cool to see, just the different aspects of where things went.
Sure.
Oh, Mary's over on Twitch now. Miami Beach, nice and warm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So tell me some got traction. Let's hear about, you go from a podcaster to kind of tiptoeing, is it fair to say, into content creation? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
You came in, and then the 90-day video challenge happened. So now you're all in. What has been the biggest, you said, traction, and what was it like views wise and that sort of thing? I mean, I don't do videos for that. However, it's always fun to kind of look back. It is immeasurable. You can't deny it. Tell us what has been your most engaged video so far.
Okay, so I'll separate this, because there's live streaming video, and then there's like regular produced content video, like we did from the 90-day video challenge. For the 90-day video challenge, my most viewed video was just completely a B-roll of all my bloopers. So one day I was like, I've got so many of these. Someone commented on my video. They're like, you should just do a B-roll video as one of your 90-day videos. And that was by far my most popular one. And then for live streaming video, Luke Matthews and Jonathan Palmar did a 24-hour live on LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw that back in October last year.
Yeah. Yes.
Where they were live for 24 hours straight. And I think it was the first one that did.
Right?
Yeah. I hosted them at like 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, like 4 o'clock in the morning to 8 in the morning. So I wound up getting like 700 or 800 comments on my live stream during that because it was flowing. It started and people from the UK were up. So you saw people in the UK commenting and in Europe. And then slowly as the Eastern Coast started waking up, you were starting to see some of the other people come. And that's probably like one of my most engaged piece of content ever. 24,
but how many hours were you live streaming?
So I did 4 hours with them because LinkedIn has a 4-hour limit, right? And then it just shuts you off. And then you basically have to start the stream over again. So I hosted them for four hours. And then later in the day, they needed somebody else to keep the momentum going or else it was going to break. So then I offered up and I did like another hour and a half.
So they did. So if you and I were to say we're going to do a 24-hour live stream, I'm not suggesting that, by the way. If we were to do that, we would have to find hosts, if you will, right? We would do our 4 hours, find another host, and then another host. So we'd have to find 3 4-hour hosts. Did I do that math right? No, that's only 12.
Yeah, you got to get them 4-hour blocks.
6 4-hour blocks.
It ends at 4 hours, right? So you need to then get the other person to start their stream early so that you can then jump over before you get cut off. So it was an interesting challenge for them. I think on Twitch you can be live for a month. Definitely not doing that.
Have they done that?
Well, there was a guy on Twitch called Ludwig. He's the most subbed Twitcher ever. He did what was called a subathon. And basically every time somebody would subscribe to his channel, he'd add 10 seconds. So literally he got all these people from the internet just subbing because they were trying to see how long he could keep it going.
Did he pee?
And he had it 31 days. 31 days.
How'd he go to the bathroom?
I don't know because I didn't watch it, but I know that he took a camera with him everywhere he went. And then while he was sleeping and then when he was sleeping on Twitch, he'd have his camera on and his moderators would chat with the chat. But literally he went and he's the most subbed person. I think he made like over 100K that month that he got all those subs.
Your kid, I don't know. Is that worth it to you?
A subathon?
What do you think? Would you give up 31 days of your life for $100,000? I think I would because I have a funny life anyway.
Well, the best way to find out is to try, right? It's like,
I don't know
if I'd do it, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd get 100. I don't even know how. So this is my first podcast on Twitch. It shows that there are 2 people watching. So thank you to it. It's probably me and you, Nick.
No. But, Jackie Curley's over there. Mary Davis made the jump over there.
So Jackie and Mary.
Yeah.
So tell me how tips work with Twitch. And is it like, do you like put into a wallet?
Okay. So basically when you first start off, so Twitch 101, right? So when you stream to Twitch, right, it's mainly a gaming platform, right?
Right.
But the whole thing is Twitch is all live content. As opposed to like being on LinkedIn where you have live content, you have videos and you have pictures and stuff like that. And you're going to have the Clubhouse type thing. Mm-hmm. Twitch is only live video. So basically when you stream and you hit enough certain marks, you can get this status called affiliate. And basically affiliate allows you to then do revenue share type things in your stream. So think of bits as people giving you like tips. Like let's say if you were a performer like on a subway and you're going to play your guitar and sing and people walk by and they're like, oh, I like that. So they throw you a couple bucks and put it in there. Bits are real actual money that people give you. Subscriptions are once you have affiliate, then people can subscribe to your channel. What they get with subscriptions is they can watch your past broadcast. They get special things called emotes, what are basically just custom emojis. So you as a streamer can do custom emojis and give those as a benefit to the people who watch your channel. And it has its own community. If you stream to Twitch, you really got to pay attention to it, because as people pop in and they're chatting, you want to talk to them, especially when your audience is small, and you have enough people, a small enough amount of people in there that you can pay attention to them. It turns into its whole engagement thing. Like Jackie Curley, who found me initially on LinkedIn, follows us around on Twitch, because a lot of us LinkedIn streamers have also streamed to Twitch. Like me, Travis, Gabe Leal, because one of the cool things you can do is you can do raids. So on Friday nights, when Travis used to do his Feel Good Fridays, I would start with my stream. And then the cool thing you can do in Twitch is do what's called a raid. So I can literally take everybody who's watching my stream, and when I want to end it, I can just send them straight to Travis's stream. Nice. So no, like, hey, grab this link, go to that one. It was like, nope, just take all the viewers and throw them over there. It's one of the cooler things you can do.
I'm always curious, because I'll admit I am a content creator. I am not a content consumer. Would you say, or maybe I'm like 80% creator, 20% content consumer in the social media world. I read a lot of books. I've read book number 26 yesterday. And I don't think I'm going to get to 100 this year, but I do all my consumption through reading. What is your ratio, content creator versus content consumer?
So now that I've upticked my production, I don't consume quite as much. I don't read as much as I used to. Yeah, I don't read as much as I used to. And there used to be a couple podcasts that I used to listen to religiously. And one of them was the Jocko podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jocko Willink. And his podcast started getting up to like 4-hour episodes every week. And I'm like, I just can't do this. You know, it's like, it's great content, but if I still want to produce content and engage, I can't. Like, I just can't. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Well, I would love to hear from Jackie and is it Mary?
Yep, Mary's in there.
Mary. Yep. I would love to hear from them, and not. I'm mainly curious. There's no judgment here. I'm curious on someone to sit down and purposefully or with intentionality listen to a podcast of two dudes. Half of my face is gone, but I love it because I can yawn and no one knows, right? With this thing on here, and you're wearing these funky glasses, filter,
by the way. But
what mic is that?
It's a Rode Podcaster or something like that, I think. Yeah.
What level? Rode is
pod mic. That's what it is.
Rode gives you like the name with a $20 version type deal. What level is this?
This is like a pro audio level.
Okay.
Because you need an XLR cable audio interface to plug it into. Yeah.
Oh, but
this is only like $100. It's actually cheaper than the mic you're using right now.
Yeah. And sometimes the USB, this picks up every time I do the p. If I don't have this pop filter
plosives, Peter Piper packed of pickled peppers.
Yes. Yeah. Moses supposes his toes are roses, yet Moses supposes erroneously. That's what we had to do for acting class.
Very good. Jackie's answering your question.
I see that. Hey, I'm the host on this one, though. Sense of community, learning, entertainment, and celebrating people who are trying new things. I just joined the Discord, so it's just about community and supporting other people. That's interesting. Thank you both, Jackie and Mary, for responding to that. Because I always think what is the value for, and I speak all the time. Did you know that most speakers are introverts? Did you know that?
I can believe it.
Most speakers are introverts. If I'm on the stage, I'll go up against anyone but Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch will smoke me. I'll go up against Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, anybody else.
Peter is really good.
He is absolutely amazing as far as storytelling goes. But I'll go up on a big stage and crush it, and then I'll walk off the stage, and I am really struggling with the one-on-one. And guess where deals are closed?
Yeah, one-on-one.
In the one-on-one. And it's amazing. Gabe's here. Gabe's our sports
tornado.
Is that right?
Yep. Yes, he is. He is the one who was doing all the Atlanta Hawks questions or whatever. Yeah.
I'm feeling twitchy.
There you go, man.
Uh, so you've come on this journey, and what is like? Tell us about your day job. You got a day job?
I do have a day job. Yeah, that is
Janitor.
correct. Yep. Someone's got to keep that place clean.
You know what, dude? There's a janitor at our church. I say hello to him every Sunday. I'm like, that's you got to do what you got to do. And I read a book once that talked about no matter what you do, like make sure those toilets are the cleanest from any other janitor. I mean, whatever you do it with all. But like, when you talk about IT tech, what is it that you actually do? You're like Chandler from Friends.
So what does it say you do around here? The Office. No, you don't remember that.
Which one?
So The Office.
No. What
I mean, Office Space, where he's like, so what is it you say it is you do around here? Or they go to the meeting with the Bobs. Yeah.
Here it is. Non-movie guy quoting a movie. I love
it. Yeah. So I would say, what I do for a living is I run technology for a trade association. So basically, I'm a director, and I run everything from infrastructure to local desktop support.
And that is what title?
I'm a director of technology. Yep.
Oh, okay. So, and it's with, and so director of, so you're not responding to those, like you're managing people that are doing that role, I would imagine.
I do both.
You do both.
I've only got a staff.
So hands-on manager.
We only have it. Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Got it. And Gabe is saying that he is an amazing storyteller. Would love to speak on stage soon. Tell you what, Gabe, I am, like I said, second to Peter Lynch, and I'm the only one that knows that. Nobody else knows that. So therefore, I don't get any paying gigs to be on stage. And so what I did was I started volunteering, and it absolutely changed my life. Any school will have you come in to volunteer. Right now, I'll be a virtual. And the first question I asked the school when they had me speak is I asked them, what if I suck? Now, I know I don't suck, but I asked them, what if I suck? And they didn't care. They absolutely don't care, because that's how much they need volunteers. So if you ever want to increase your chops on speaking, try to hold the attention of 30 middle schoolers, and you will become excellent at your craft. So I wanted to follow your lead, Nick, and engage the audience here. So tell me about who's the dude, Brian. The voice of an
Brian, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He definitely sounds like he belongs on radio, right? Well, I mean, he is on radio, but yeah. So I initially met Brian in my day job. He worked at a firm that was a member of the association I work at. And basically every time he would come to DC, we would just have these different leadership and technology conversations. And I just turned to him, I was like, dude, we should just make this podcast, like record this. I'm sure somebody will listen to it. I'm kind of the, thought process of that. I fire first, then I aim. Yeah. So that's literally what we did. We just took an idea that we both had, and it's like, well, let's just make it a podcast and see if anybody listens to it. And got lucky. People listen? People do listen to it. I mean, it's not I don't get a huge amount of downloads, maybe 50 downloads per episode. We only release twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. So the production's not weekly. It's not season. Even though we might change it. I might change it to a seasonal pace since I'm doing more content creation. To put more production value into the episodes, to give me a little bit of a break. But that's where that all started. It was like, hey, let's just record this and see if anyone wants to listen to it. And that's where I met Peter Lynch. He is a sweetheart of a guy, Brian. Like, just a great guy. He got me when you were, because I'm still unemployed technically, although I'm speaking to I'm speaking to high school virtually. And we're inviting the 4 middle schools that feed into the high school. So a total of 5,000 students that are the potential. Obviously, you don't get 100% registration. So
But you had reached out. We're like, hey, want to help you. And then Brian, dude, worked his butt off to get me through the interview. And these companies that are Fortune 100, their resumes are stacked sky high, right? And I'm an interesting cat anyway. So how do I ever get past the MBAs and this and there's millions unemployed.
Yeah.
And with Brian's voice and influence, he got me to the interview stage and was talking to this guy, really nice guy. And he's looking for strong soft skills. So a lot of EI. By the way, do you go EI or EQ? How do you call it? There's a big debate in the emotional intelligence world. EI or EQ?
So people call them, EI and EQ. I just call them essential skills, right? Because they're essential.
No, I'm not gonna let you wiggle off of that. No, you got to answer.
So I'm gonna say, it's emotional intelligence because it involves quite a bit of things. It's more than just.
So you go EI. No, I mean the abbreviation. Do you go EI or EQ?
I normally do EQ. Yep.
Okay. So I go EI, and it's good that we can debate this. Daniel Goldman is like the big muckety muck of emotional intelligence. And I would read in his books how he, his colleagues, like they get offended because EQ, right? IQ and EQ. And so it's fast. I did a poll on it on LinkedIn, I think years ago. Like, do you call it EI or do you call it EQ? Most people call it EQ. And then one of my coworkers at the time, he posted, what does IQ stand for? Do you know, Nick, what IQ stands for?
You know what? I do not know. That is a good question.
I believe it's
intelligence.
Quantum.
Should I Google it?
No, go ahead. It's
quotient or something.
Quotient. Yeah. Is it intelligence or information? I think it's intelligence. Are you Googling it?
Yeah, intelligence quotient.
What does quotient mean?
That is good. Okay, well let's. Where's my friend Jesse, who's the Scrabble champion player?
Quotient, I believe, means the capacity of or something.
Yeah, let's Google that. What was your thought? I'll Google that for you real quick.
Yeah, because when my buddy pointed out that intellect quotient is revealing how much intellect you have. So EQ would then be how much emotion you have, not the intelligence of the emotion. Boom, it's EI. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to say. Now you can go to EI.
So
instead of,
there we go.
Although
quotient
yes,
is the magnitude of a specific characteristic or quality.
Right. Which the quality would then be information, correct? Or intellect. The quality of intellect. So EQ would be the quality of emotion, right?
Yep.
Not the intellect, right? Anyway, that's what even though EQ sounds cooler, it does have the.
It does. To me, it doesn't matter what you call it as long as you do it, right? It's like, who cares what it's called?
But it's so fun to watch these rich muckety mucks get into, they're all of like, well, I know, I think that blah, 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 blah. I find it fascinating. And anyone, Mary Jackie Beast Mode, if you want to give your 2 cents on EI versus EQ, that was quite a detour. What were we talking about prior to that?
I don't remember. We're talking about the Beast Node is Travis Lochner. Just so you know, that's Travis Lochner. Yep.
Yes, I know Travis. And I will tell you, we're talking about the job. So I get on. So this guy's telling me about, EI and soft skills and this and that. I'm like, sweet, I'm eating that up. That is exactly really strong connection. And then he says, okay, you got just talk to this person. Okay. Before you do that, you got to take this test. And the test is an aptitude test with a lot of puzzles, matrices, going clockwise, counterclockwise, and you got to do 50 in like 15 minutes. It came out to 18 seconds a question, and it's a pass fail. And I have dyslexia, ADHD, the whole 9, test anxiety, whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. Brian, what the heck is up with this? And he goes, oh, dude, just get through it. And then you've got a great salary. You've got this, and that. And so I take all these practice tests to get through this thing. And sure enough, took the test, bombed miserably. I mean, just was like,
Oh, jeez.
It was a joke. And so on Thanksgiving, my birthday, I get an email from HR that says, "Thank you. We're moving on to other candidates." And a couple things I was like, well, I'm impressed because they're working on Thanksgiving. Wait a minute. Who works on Thanksgiving at a corporation like that? It's probably a bot, or schedule, whatever it was. And so I'm like, okay, the true sign of a great salesman is how you overcome objection. This is an objection. So this is a great opportunity for me to be like, bro, we talked about what you needed. I'm that, this and that. So I sent him that email. He gets on the phone with me. Again, at no time was he rude, or he's like, it's out of my hands. I can't. So this company does not look at anything other than this pass fail of aptitude. And the guy told me they measure how you solve problems. And I said, well, what's interesting is there's no human beings in that test. And how you solve problems is connecting people. It's a person to person, right? And I was so angry, Nick, I read 40 books in the month of December.
I don't know if my initial reaction when I'm angry is to then go read 40 books. That's impressive, man.
I was like, I am going to show these people. And so I read, I'll never do it again. My wife did not appreciate it because I was, I didn't do much of anything but read. But your guy, I mean, your friend is just his voice is amazing. He's an amazing guy. He's a great partner to be in touch with. Yes, Travis, I read 40 books in a month. Now I want to be completely transparent. What I look for is self-help and like 200 pages, 175 to 200. I don't want to go over 200 pages. And then the more you read, the better you get, the faster you get. And I take Ritalin, so it's kind of a performance enhancer when reading, especially with smoking a cigar and drinking coffee. The combination of that 200 words, 200 pages an hour, pretty much. So try it. It'll change your life. But yeah. So when you guys are doing your thing, are like you do that, you have that podcast, you have your day job, you have your content that you create. Are any of these, if any of these pops, like I would imagine you have a book in you. If you were to take all the digital content that you've produced, you have a book in you. Like, what are thoughts related to Nick on that front?
Yeah, a book has been on my mind from a leadership perspective before. But then you get into that whole thing. It's like, well, do I have enough ideas to fill a book? Because that's the struggle. Because Brian and I have actually talked about doing one of those, because we have enough content and 50 something episodes with thoughts and ideas. And when I saw what you did with your book, I was like, well, why can't we just get it transcribed? Like, even if we just throw it in Otter or something initially, to then plot it down and see what it looks like, how much content we physically have. Do you want to do a book? And then I know everything that details that go into making a book. I know it's a big time commitment and a big, like money investment from that perspective. But I think one day a book is on my bucket list. I don't know if it's going to be a leadership book or something else. No idea, man.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I'll just share this anyway. When the dust settled for my book and it was at 365 pages, I was not happy. I was like, can we change the font size? Can we? Because I asked the editor specifically. When I read so much, I know when a book is easy to read, and it has to do with line spacing. It has to do with the font they chose. And I was like, sweet spot's 200 pages. My word count is around 225. However, the way we did all the illustrations and this and that, 365. But I find so much value in the 100-page books, because when you read like a 300-page book, and just while we're on the topic, for those of you who've not read my book, my book is modeled after Seth Godin in that they're individual topics. So it's not a 308. You don't read it from start to finish. You read it whenever you want, middle, back, front. But Nick, the 100-page book is giving you one takeaway. The 200-page book is giving you one takeaway. The 300-page book is giving you one takeaway. So it's like, what is, we live in a TikTok and a Twitter world. What is it about these long? So I think you have a book in you, maybe two, because you don't have to, get to a certain particular level.
Yeah, I mean, when you take it, and I'm pretty familiar with Seth Godin too, and I know even Seth Godin got pretty popular with his blog, and his blog was like that.
Yep.
What it was like.
Yep.
Sometimes it was only like 3 sentences, and that was his blog post. Sometimes it's 2 paragraphs. Sometimes it's a page. And I know for him, his style is just kind of straight to the point. Here's what this is.
Yeah.
Here's the facts. Here's what I do. And that's kind of it. And he's kind of thrived in that market space. So yeah, I think when it goes back to looking at stuff like that, and I see stuff like Seth Godin, how he writes, I'm like, yeah, it's doable. I just don't know how high it is on the priority list right now. Yeah, see, Sultan saying I have a ton of books in me. Yeah. You have to tell me what book I have in me. So thanks for hanging out, Sultan. Thanks for coming, Mindy. I appreciate you guys coming over to
I see a lot of
and do the home and home. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's great. No, I think I think, let me hear who asked about the title. Was that Mindy?
I saw a bunch of comments came in at one time.
Whoever asked about the title, I'll tell you that, Nick, that changes everything. Once you get the title, it's like a snowball. And it's not easy transcribing at all. I thought it would be easy. It is not easy at all. There is much more work that goes into it. Hold on as I unsubscribe from this Flow Desk. There is so much work that goes into it because you got to restructure it. But no, man, if when you're ready, let me know. I'll introduce you to the Book Baby folks. They took care of me, and it's just one of those bucket list things, right? Like you said, you kind of check it off. So if it's not a book, which one would you want to pop? Your day job, your podcasting, or just you become a Shea Robot, content creator type deal?
Man, that's a difficult question because so when you say pop, you mean what would I like to explode, right? That's
where you can provide for your family comfortably by the income coming in, whether it's a job promotion or Yeah.
So for me, I'm not a standard corporate guy. I worked at a huge consulting firm for a little while, and it just wasn't me. It was fun and challenging, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to just sit here and climb, some corporate ladder and keep doing that. So I think for me, it would be fun to do something more on the creative side. As you know me from before, from my content, I used to cook professionally. I like to do woodworking. So I always kind of had this artistic background. And Travis, who's here in the comments, he and I are actually going to be launching, a live streaming kind of boot camp type thing. I just kind of like doing different things. So it's Travis, correct me if I'm wrong. We're calling it Beast Camp. And we're seeing this big change of people who want to get into live streaming, right? Companies and everything. So it's like, we have this stuff kind of figured out with the custom setups standing out. It's like, how can we educate people and let them get ahead of the competition type deal? And I'm sure Travis is going to correct me because I'm probably wrong with something here, but
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I just purchased. So this big all school assembly that we're doing on Wednesday, I tried to convince the sponsor to fly me out to Seattle and go into a full production studio where they already have a green screen, OBS switcher, the whole nine. And I had no idea it was 10 grand for the day, $10,000. And so they're like, yeah, Troy's not going to work. I said, well, I mean, this iMac camera is really good. I just don't know if I'm ready for this and that. So we compromised where they bought me the Elgato switcher. You familiar with the Elgato?
An Elgato Stream Deck. Yeah.
Elgato Stream Deck, and then the 15 channel, and then the 2 Elgato lights, the light one, the light version. And then I downloaded OBS. So I have to learn within 5 days, all of this, and then get the raw files. And then, so what's going to happen is this behind me right here is going to be a green screen. So
this is a green screen behind me. Well, obviously I'm not standing in space, right?
but partial green screen, that's a whole different partial green screen live. And I teach my wife how to do the switcher.
Yeah, so if I shut this off, see, that's like that's my green screen. Everything that's black, obviously what you see is black is green. But yeah, it's just, it's
do you draw out the section in OBS?
So my screen isn't full length. So see how my hand disappears right here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's a limitation of space because, as I told you before, I got a bed behind me, and I got like when you were on my live stream, I was like, I got tired of telling people it's not my bed, that's my guest bed. I don't sleep in that bed, and it's just. But the green screen also allows me more versatility, right? Now I can put things behind me. So if I were teaching something, I could put myself down in a corner and be on top of an image instead of having to fill up a whole box. So once you kind of get working higher end on OBS, all this stuff kind of becomes difficult because there's tons of stuff to learn, right? You start digging into one thing and then you're like, oh, wait, I need to know how to do this.
Yes.
So what do I need to know about green screens? Well, I need enough light. So now I need to figure out how to work with light. Okay, now I need a camera, that's good enough to take that amount of light in. So it can just put you down this huge rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And so like what Travis was saying, he left a pretty good comment. It's like a master class where we can kind of let people get over some of these pitfalls and they can hit the ground running with a DIY path and like a full service path.
So there's a lot of questions. I'm trying to figure out if someone insulted my wife. I don't think so. I think they were complimenting her. Yes. The wife, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say because it might offend thousands of people, but the wife is,
almost everyone who's here I know pretty well, so you're not going to offend anybody. They're probably just messing with you to get you to make a face on the stream.
No. She I had to fire her from my last job because we were startup shorthanded, and I said, "Come on in, you do some sales calls, and I'll be there to teach you." And because I love her so much, I fired her because she hated it. She absolutely hated it.
But see, you saw that, right? And you're like, well, okay, this is just going to get worse, right? If she hates it, it's going to create a crazy dynamic. So it's like, let's just move on, right?
And she made $1,200. $1,200 that month. She made $1,200, yeah. And I told her, I said, I'm not firing you because you're a woman or my wife. I'm firing you because you're miserable. And so there's a lot of comments coming in. Gabe wants to sleep in that bed.
Yeah, well, Gabe, if you can come visit me in DC, you can sleep in that bed. Yeah,
please offend. Dana says, please offend. No, I'm not going to do that because sometimes you make a joke and this is digital. You know what digital tattoo is? You've heard of that term?
Yeah, I know. The internet never forgets anything. I know what you're saying, right? Because even though we're sitting here having fun, right? It's like the media thing where they'll just clip it. Did you hear what Troy Ritchie said? Travis,
here's something.
Travis, who's in the comment, had a comment like that on one of his posts on LinkedIn. You know, he was hosting the show and it had 4 males on it. And it was like a 30-second clip. And this lady was like, oh, well, where's the females in this? And like, she just made all these accusations about everything Travis does off of one piece of content. So it's you know, like the internet doesn't forget, and, you know, people will bring out their agendas, I guess, you know,
it's
to
funny
it and roast us.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing at these comments, man. Yeah.
Oh, they're coming in. It's funny that like for the Clark County School District, top 10 school district in Nevada, it's an all woman board. Like the entire board is women, and you don't hear people crying foul that where are the men. I'm crying foul, where are the men? Because why aren't men more involved? That's my question. It has nothing to do with the abilities of a woman. It's just why aren't the men involved? I have a theory on that. I think pornography destroys manhood, and if you've been to Vegas, you can see that there is pornography everywhere. So I think a lot of men are not. The women here are sharper than a tack. I mean, more entrepreneurial than anywhere I've ever been. And so that's kind of my theory, is that the men are struggling with their personal issues. But I'll say something controversial. Like Gary Vee should not use profanity. So if anybody knows Gary Vee, we talked about it last week. If anybody knows Gary Vee, get him on here and I will debate him. Oh, look at Mindy. Such language. My F word is friggin'. And it's funny because Gary Vee says I'm inauthentic if I don't use profanity. Oh, really? Are you inauthentic for putting clothes on? Because authenticity, you're in the nude, right? You're authentically in the nude.
But that's not your style, right? You just don't curse. So like it'd be out of character for you if you just start dropping F-bombs trying to be like Gary Vee. Right?
No, I don't curse. So what's the theory on the anti-profanity? So I'm anti-profanity to an audience because you're ostracizing some of that audience. And so for me, when I teach and I coach others, like, why not get to the most audience that you can, right? If you're trying to sell something and you're dropping a mother F bomb and you lose 30% of your audience, are you going to be like, well, I don't care about them. Who cares? Right. You don't care about them. You literally just said, so when Gary Vee was bragging about the second grade teacher coming up to him and saying, can you talk to your daughter about not using profanity in the class? Gary Vee said, I don't give up to the teacher, and was bragging about it. Like, I'm not going to change for you. And it's like, okay, if any of you have been in leadership, Nick, you're in leadership, and you got one dude or one girl or one person that is so disruptive to everyone else and they don't give then yeah, I say, why, when all you got to do is not say particular words, even though the other person being offended may be the weaker person, how come we don't look out for the weaker person? Like, why don't we think about them and be like, okay, there's a reason the FCC has certain words that are banned. So that's my thing, is like, hold your tongue, and then you will reach a larger audience. I don't care about reaching a larger audience. Okay, well, I want to sell as much as I can. So if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're gay, straight, bi, whatever, buy my book. I don't care, because your money is green and it doesn't matter to me, Christian, Muslim, whatever. Just buy my book. And so I just think when you hold your tongue, man, it puts inside of you just this self-control that I'd love to debate him. I really would, because I think he helps so many people. I think he loves people.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves people.
I think so too. Yeah.
So there's a conflict for me, and I would love to just sit him down and be like, dude, go 24 hours without using profanity. You've got so much in you that is spitting fire. Why do you need to drop the F-bomb every other word and encourage? Because what happens, Nick, is the pretenders, right? Mm-hmm. The pretenders come out and they're not wired like Gary Vee, and they're trying to curse as a strategic measure. And it's just like, oh my goodness. Just then now who's inauthentic? Well, my goodness, look at these comments coming in. They are just flying it. I don't want Republicans to buy my book. Okay, well that's
Yeah,
fine.
she was joking around. Then she says, "Wait, I don't have a book."
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's okay. If I know
this is the regular crew here, so they're showing up for support, and they might say some stuff to try to throw you off your game, especially Gabe. Like I remember one time I was live with Joel Lagley. You know Joel, right? And
how's he doing?
He's doing good. So I was on him maybe in
someone else. There's a guy that got kicked off on LinkedIn.
Oh, what? Well, he wasn't kicked off LinkedIn. He's the recruiter guy.
Yes.
And literally, I get on with him, and Kelsey Lips gets on with him, and they blew up his chat. And he's like, I can't keep up with this anymore. He's like, I can't pay attention to this anymore. So I got to give you props. Yeah. It's difficult to sit here and have this conversation and then still try to.
I want to know why Mindy does not want Republicans to buy her book. I'm curious. Just so you know, I am neither Republican or Democrat. I'm a human being. And so Gary's industry swears openly he is appropriate for his audience. Okay, Mindy, I love it. I love the pushback. So what you're saying is that encouraging his second grader to use profanity in class is good. That's the thing is like, that's where it's like, I don't buy it. I mean, I'll what's funny, Nick, my biggest engagement is when I say don't use profanity. That on LinkedIn I had this guy get so upset. He just came after me and he's got a fairly large amount of followers. And what's funny is when I say don't use profanity, people that use profanity think I'm talking to them. I'm not talking to them. I'm just saying, if you want to reach as close to 100% of your audience with your message, don't use profanity. Don't talk politics. Don't give stock tips. Just stay away from that stuff if you want to reach a larger audience group. You are saying people should not swear in their work. Again, I think, Mindy, you're missing the point. I'm saying if you want to reach an audience, so people that hear me say, if you want to reach a larger audience, don't swear, and they say, I don't care about reaching a larger audience, well, that's a whole different conversation. If you're on Twitch and you want to reach a larger audience, then don't use profanity. It's just proven. And that's okay. You don't want me voting. I'm a joke. You're saying people should not. So tell me, Mindy, why don't you want Republicans to buy your book?
Yeah, I'm laughing at the chat here. These guys like Sultan, Trump, Amazon. It's like, but I got to give you props, man. Have you had this much engagement like
never
before in a live stream? Because it's difficult to
That's good. That's good, Mindy. So Mindy says, I want my people, not all the people. That's interesting. Okay, well then, yeah. I mean, if that's what you want, then so isn't there a mother effing CEO guy? Isn't that a brand?
Possibly. Sounds like a Grant Cardone thing or something.
Mother effing, yeah. I'm not a fan of Grant Cardone. I don't know.
I'm not either.
I feel like
I didn't know who he was till maybe like 8 months ago.
Neither did I. They kept saying Grant Cardone. I'm like, what? Who's Grant Cardone? That's right.
That's because like I had seen him. So Mike Winnett was the guy who got banned recently off LinkedIn, but he's the guy who did the Contrepreneur series on YouTube, and I used to love those.
Interesting. See, now, Mindy, it feels like you're getting personal with me. See that? Republicans.
I think it's just healthy discourse. It's all good.
Yeah, Discord, that app. Wow, I won't let my kid on it, man. That is like, there are some predatorial individuals out there. But and just so Mindy understands, I'm coming from the perspective of speaking to hurting people, people that are, going through some tough times. I'm very anti-suicide. Grant Cardone says he doesn't burn out
because he's not a candle.
Yeah. There's just something about Grant Cardone that so Gary Vee transfers a feeling of hope, right? Grant Cardone, it feels like he's transferring a feeling of pressure. Like like used car salesman pressure. You know what I mean?
He does have that click funnels. Who's the guy who started that?
But Russ doesn't.
Russ Hanneman,
I
is
don't
that his
feel
name?
that way. Russ, yeah, I don't feel that way when he talks.
Really?
He seems like a good guy. Is he
Yeah,
high pressure sales?
Well, it always seems like it's when he's talking, he's like trying to get you to a funnel so that he can then close on you. I guess that's the perspective that I see with
Yes.
Grant Cardone. Like, he talks a lot, but it's like, oh, that to find out more, to peel back the layers. So you don't get Russell Brunson.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Travis.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I feel like when Grant Cardone talks. That like everything is him trying to get you to the top of his funnel somehow.
That's right.
Without just giving value. If people like what you have to say and like your ideas, then have confidence that you can land people just through that. That's my opinion. And you're the sales guy. You're the sales expert. I'm not.
I'm with you. It's got to be a match. I mean, I used to say when I would get interviewed, I can't sell ice to Eskimos, and then that became controversial. So you can't say that anymore. And then, well, I can't sell sand in the desert, and then that became controversial. You can't say that anymore.
Can you say you can't sell water in the ocean? I don't know. I don't know where you're going to go next.
I have no idea. But no, sales is about finding a match, and it's and we live in such a world that, and I read this in a book, the happiness thought, or so I think it was called, that when you're self-centered, you're unhappy, and when you're so focused on self, you're unhappy. And that's the message. Gary Vee's message is about others. Like, it's not about, he doesn't have that self-centeredness where it feels like Grant Cardone is like, I'm going to get mine and I'm going to go through anybody I can. And I don't know the man. I mean, I'm not condemning him at all. I'm just going by his wife, Spitfire. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, seems very genuine. And still, she will sell you something you don't need. Absolutely. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Can you do that? I can't do it.
No, I can't, but I also don't pay attention to them either. So, outside of just the small interactions I've seen from his content, I'm like, he's just not my thing. Yeah. I had to laugh at some of these comments. These guys are funny. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, it's yeah. I heard Joe Rogan had to walk backwards on a comment about vaccine.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting, even from the podcast perspective, because podcasting's always kind of been about, it's free, it's open, it's just RSS feeds, and then to things to go into proprietary platforms, it's kind of crazy to me to see. Like, I would never go to a proprietary platform. I don't care if they're even going to give me $100 million, because I want to be able to say what I want to say, because I feel like I'm saying it not because I'm being coaxed into saying it. And that's regardless of whatever his opinion is about whatever. I just don't want people to have to think, am I saying it that way because somebody's making me say it that way? Or am I saying that because of an advertiser? I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Well, what's fascinating is the power big tech has in the marketplace, right? Government, in my opinion, well, let's say just America will remain fair. I don't think Trump took us to hell and back. I don't think Obama took us to hell and back. I think we have enough on both sides that we can kind of keep it balanced. But if Amazon came out and said, you have to check this box that you support the vaccine or you cannot shop here, they have the right to do that because it's their platform. And then if I don't know how many heads are at the big tech table, but if all of them, did this, and I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm not pro-vaccine, I'm not going to take the vaccine until Walmart says you can't come in without, or the grocery store says you can't come in without a vaccine, then I'm going to take the vaccine. I don't care. And so I'm kind of like not pro, not anti, pretty much anything in the world. But if the big tech marketplace could actually ostracize a bunch of people, isn't that crazy? Like they could say, if you don't agree with our philosophies, beliefs, you can't shop here. And then what? It's just crazy.
I get it from their perspective. There's a dichotomy, right? They want to have free, open communication, but at some level they have to moderate. It's a tough position to be in, and one that I would not want to be a CEO of some social media company, period, just because it seems like it's a crazy dichotomy, right? It's like you've got to moderate to some portion, but then you also want to leave it open.
I disagree. I think they're with Hollywood. Hollywood elites, they almost think they're a better race, where the amount of stories that comes out. I mean, Harvey Weinstein is just one of what, thousands, could we say, that just look down on. I think big tech CEOs and executives, I think they think they're at another level of our species. That's my opinion. And so they don't think correctly. Like what you're saying right now is common sense. Like it's just, 2 and 2 is 4. I think they're so far removed from that reality that they just make decisions based on. Again, I don't think anyone is motivated by evil. I think when someone says you have to take the vaccine, I think they're saying it out of genuine goodness, that they feel that if you don't, you're going to harm others, right? I think that they're looking at it from good, but when they make it mandatory, I'm curious if it's a slippery slope to mandatory flu shots. I mean, where does it end? And I've got a lot of holistic doctor friends who will die before they take any vaccine. And so I look at both sides and I'm like, wow, this has potential to really get crazy.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? And like the vaccine thing goes back to fears relative to each person, right? What one person's afraid of, another person isn't. And I think at times people forget that, right? Just because you're not afraid of something doesn't mean that somebody else isn't. And like your specific situation with the vaccine, right? Just because I'm okay getting the vaccine and I got it early, I had no problem getting the Johnson & Johnson, doesn't mean that the person next to me is okay with that.
That's right.
And I feel like that's a tough position, and especially when we're talking about organizations now too, and going back to work. And some organizations are forcing employees to have it to come back.
You're kidding. But,
yeah, I mean,
but they can work remotely, probably.
Yeah, they can work remotely. This is some stuff that I've heard. Just working in this area, it's kind of like. I'm of the thought process, just because from a legal perspective you can do it, it doesn't mean necessarily from a leadership perspective that you should do it. It's interesting to see how this whole situation's playing out, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm not, and people will say, my conservative friends will say we need to rise up, and I'm like, rise up from what, dude? What rise up? What do you mean rise up? I'm not rising up until they say you can't worship you can't use your beliefs to worship your God. That's when you'll see me get into the fight. But until then, this is all just like, how are we as a species and a society going to engage each other, communicate with each other, and just show kindness and mercy? I mean, people, this from leadership, they work better when they feel better about themselves. And how often are we as a society telling others positive things that we see in them or that we find in them? It's so easy to point out the flaws. We're not a society that points out just how good people are. And so I'm trying to really change that, my mindset to be more about finding the good even in someone that may completely disagree with everything that I believe, because that's what I think that's where our country will heal, in my opinion.
No, and that's I think you make a great point, right? Stuff has become so partisan, and at least in the United States, and I guess we're seeing that in the UK too. And I don't watch cable news because it has
Yeah.
turned into such a us against them mentality. I'm like, just because somebody has a different idea and different views of you doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, right? You and I can have different views over swearing or something like that, but we can
Yeah.
sit here and have a
That's right.
civil conversation, and it has no impact on what I think of you as a human being.
That's right.
Right? It's just
That's
an
right.
idea, a thought process. So I think it's, people just need to realize that just because somebody else has different views than you doesn't necessarily mean that everything that they say is bad or wrong.
Right.
We definitely got to get rid of that us versus them mentality.
It is everywhere. I mean, it's and that's what gets me so frustrated. And it's all based on the source of information, right? And that's where I don't believe algorithms are evil. Algorithms are feeding us what we are interested in. But the danger of an algorithm is that if we don't ever see another perspective, because everything is catered to our belief system. Like this one lady, I was sitting down in the dental office I was doing some procedure, get my blood. And she goes, "Oh, you're a Scorpio." I'm like, "No, I'm a human." And she goes, "Oh." And I said, "I'm sorry. I don't buy into that." And she goes, "Oh, you mean the stars?" So, and I'm like, I worship the creator of the stars. Then we started getting got a little awkward, a little snippy. And then I just share with her, like, look, I'm a human being. I'm not, you can't label me as a Scorpio. And when I talk to high schoolers and middle schoolers, the pressure that they're going through today to pick a label, and that label will be who you are for the rest of your life. When our prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until we're 25, and you got these 12, 13-year-olds trying to figure out all these things about themselves so they can be a label and go out there and be like, I'm this person and I'm this and I'm label. You end up with Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? I mean, that's what happens, is that it's an circuit overload that is killing our kids, man. And the suicide rates are proof that too many of them are dying. And it makes me sick when all we have to do is hold our tongue and not use profanity because we consider the other person might be offended. That's all the little change we got to do. But no, I want to be authentic. I'm going to effing swear when I effing want to swear, and you can't effing stop me. You're right. I can't. But dude, I mean, come on, let's look out for others. But anyway, this is pretty cool. It feels hard to stop, yet I cannot keep going.
This is the cool thing with live streaming, right? That you don't get with podcasting, is that live interaction to the conversation. And like Dana up there, she made a great point earlier, and she's like, beliefs change over time because our lives change. And
absolutely,
I think that's a great point, right? Because over time you learn stuff as you go on. And it's okay that you said one thing one time. You're allowed to change your mind. Right. You've had information from before, that you didn't have before. So I think that's an awesome point. And like you said, with live stream, it's easy for us just to keep going for hours and hours, man. It's
my wife just whoa. But it's someone I read in the book once. Yeah, it said that when you try to convince someone to change their mind, we get defensive. Mm-hmm. And when you offer new information, it's now a new decision. They don't get as defensive when it's not changing your mind. It's when like, if you were trying to change my mind about the vaccine, for example, I might believe what you're saying. However, for me to admit the fact that I changed my mind and you won and I lost and that sides again, it would be better for you to present it in a way that it was new information and then I made a new decision based on the information that you gave. Apparently, that is when you go back to leadership, that's a softer way to kind of get your point across. And that's what selling is. Selling is taking someone from A to B. And how you give them information, how you transfer your feeling to them is what's going to get them to see B. And once they see B, then you put your hand out and you help them over. That is selling. Everything else is just a pitch. And like I said, my next book is Don't Be a Son of a Pitch. See, See, Mary? Is it Mary? It's Mary I'm debating.
Yep.
Mindy. See, Mindy?
Mindy.
I don't swear, but I'm going to write a book called Don't Be a Son of a Pitch, because a sales pitch is dead. Damn sons of pitches. Isn't that funny? She probably doesn't find me in that, but it doesn't matter. As long as I think it's funny. Well, Nick, any last words? What would you say to encourage others to start producing content with video or live stream?
I would say just start, right? You're going to be terrible. Everybody's terrible when they start anything. Just think of the first time you did anything else. The first time you do it, you suck at it. So you might as well just start and get it over with. And the more you do it, the better you get. Same thing goes with anything you do in life, right? Riding a bike, playing a guitar, driving a car, reading books. Like, you're going to suck in the beginning. So embrace the suck. Oh, writing a book. Yeah. They were naming my book in the chat earlier. If you saw that.
I saw that. Clean up the shit or whatever. You could do like all the other authors where they put the little asterisk where the I is.
Yeah. So that would be my thoughts is, just fire first and then aim second. Don't let stuff hold you back. A lot of times I feel like as humans, we have a tendency to think of everything that can go wrong without giving much thought about the things that could possibly go right. So don't think of it like, what will my coworkers say when they see it?
Yeah.
What will my family say? Well, what if they say good things? What if they share it? What if you help that one person who needed to see that? You know as well as I know, when you get that message, you might have a piece of content that doesn't do very well, but you get a message of one person saying, man, that helped me a ton. That makes it all worth it. Yeah.
Yep. And in my book, got to give my book a plug. This is my book, by the way, right here. There's a section called The Power of Suck. And I think you're absolutely right. When you are doing something that you're not good at and other people see that, you are more inspirational than someone who is multi-talented. Look at the difference between LeBron and Michael Jordan in the debate that goes on. Who's the greatest? The greatest is Michael Jordan, hands down, because of little things like he didn't make the varsity team, right? His first time out. And LeBron was ordained the king all growing up. And so Michael Jordan has this edge to him that, and it's no fault for LeBron James. He was always that good. He was always that good. And Michael Jordan had to fight for it in ways that is just, a whole different element. So I love The Power of Suck. I tell all the students, ignore the score. When someone says you suck, they're judging you on their scoreboard, not your scoreboard. Ignore that scoreboard and you do what you do. And I'm thinking I'll end with this. I've never done the OBS switching thing, and it's coming up on Wednesday. While we were on here, 2 middle schools just confirmed. So we have 5 schools coming on to this webinar on Wednesday. I'm thinking of doing the whole show Tuesday on LinkedIn Live to practice. What do you think?
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
And then just get all of the green screen up and everything and just go through the muck. So I may do that. Look for that. Well, everyone here. Yeah. What's that?
I've done so many tests. Hey, I'm test streaming this. I'm testing my screen to see what it looks like. And Travis, who's in here, was the kick of that. Like, he's like, oh, I'm testing. He's like, all these people just started showing up into my lives.
That's awesome.
But that's awesome. The cool thing with live stream. People don't expect it to be perfect because you're doing it real time. And
that's right.
Stuff goes wrong. Right. Like one time I had, do you know Jamal Marshall? He's walking and talking a lot. Well, regardless of the fact that I had him on and I asked him a question. I was like, oh, can you tell me your why, what you do? In the middle, while he was talking, all my audio went out on my computer. I couldn't hear him. The people on the live stream couldn't hear him. So I'm just sitting there going like this, and I'm like trying to mess with the audio, get it going. Then eventually I get it going, and I literally hear him go, and that's my why. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's really great, but I didn't have audio that whole time. Can you please repeat that whole thing? It's like, so don't feel bad. I mess stuff up all the time, Troy. All the time. Goodness.
It'll be fun. Well, thank you so much. And guests, again, first broadcast on Twitch. So I will be I will be doing more of it. Well, in life, there's two kinds of comedians. This is Jerry Seinfeld, never curse, and there's George Carlin, who doesn't stop. Is one funnier than the other? Funnier or more talented? I don't know. There's a debate. If you can make people laugh without using profanity or crude humor, that's some major skills. Got to head up. A great show. Bye, everyone. Take it. Thank you. And I hope no one was offended. It was not my intent. Remember, only you can prevent yourself from being offended. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to end the broadcast now.